Good morning, traders. Welcome to Trading Together. I'm Mel Gacee. Today is Wednesday, April the 1st. Happy April Fool's Day, everybody. Let's see if we have any pranks coming out in the market today. Um, well, I'm so happy that you're here. And if you are here, would you drop your name, your hi, your comment, drop it in the chat here and let me know you're here. I want to answer any questions or comments you might have, and I'm here to help traders of all levels to get profitable. This is an educational stream. This is for educational purposes only, but I will be taking live trades. I never recommend a trade. I just take the trade in front of you and I talk through what my thought process is so that you can learn from it. If you choose to follow, you follow at your own risk. But we've got a pretty good win rate here, and I'll show you how it's done. So right now it looks like, well, Craig Bliss is here. Good morning, Craig. And the Emerald Plumber is here. Good morning, Kevin. Good to see you guys. Thank you for joining. All right. So little announcement. We have Good Friday this week. That happens on Friday, of course, and the market will be closed. So there won't be any stream on Friday. But we do have some big data coming out nonetheless. Interesting that it will be coming out on Good Friday. But it's big data, lots of unemployment, labor numbers, average hourly rates. Those are all going to be coming out on Friday. It's going to be very important. So we may not see any response in the market. Of course, it'll be closed until Monday. All right, Hatman is here. Bill is here. Dana is here. Good morning, guys. Thanks for saying hi. Thanks for joining. All right, let's take a look at this market. So we started out the day in a bit of a range. Excuse me. And I'll show you what that, wow. Excuse me. I've been just talking too long today already. Belle is here. Good morning. And Tatiana, good morning. Welcome, everybody. All right. So what we've got is this spike pre-market, and I did mark that off as our pre-market high, sitting at 66.43 on the ES, but at 657 on the SPY. So we had this pretty good run overnight. If we zoom out, let's do the 15-minute here. Take a look at that. On our 15, you can sure see how we hit this bottom down here at 63.53 on the ES and just pretty much rocketed up from there. Yesterday was a skyrocket day. I had the best day of the year on yesterday, and that was a great day for me. Lots of profit because it really was just an all-day up move. Very strong. We ended the day almost 3% higher on the S&P, even approaching the overnight high here. You can see it again. This is the 15-minute chart, and we are just really going. We are almost at 6,600 on the S&P 500. That's a great level to be at. We really want to capture that. And let's take a look at the SPX on the daily. Gavilan is here. Good morning. All right. It's nice to kind of look at the 15-minute too on the SPX. I really like to be able to see these gaps loud and clear. You don't get to see them so much on the SPY or on the futures because, of course, they run almost 24/7. So you don't really get to see those gaps as clearly. On the S&P 500, of course, because it only runs regular hours, you can see the gaps. And it's nice to kind of get a feel, right? So here is the run from yesterday. Boom. And then just a continuation. Look at that. This is the 15-minute chart. Just a continuation. Okay, not one red 15-minute candle on the S&P 500 so far today. And let's take a look. Now, this candle is looking much healthier than it did first thing. We had a bit of an upper wick. We had a little bit of pressure trying to get moving, but now it is moving, and it's really given us a nice push. Starting to look here like one of our classic V-shaped recoveries, right? I don't know that the case. Get a V-shaped recovery and come charging back up. I just don't think so, but I am willing to keep an open mind, and I could definitely be wrong. The main thing that has to happen here is that the bulls have got to recover this 200. When we get back up to the 200, which is currently sitting at about 66.41 roughly on the S&P 500. Once we get there, which is about, let's see, 66, 41, 41, about 50 points overhead, not too far. Once we get there, we will, I'm guessing, see a bit of a battle. Unless the bulls really have some firepower and they just blast off right through it, I think we could get some resistance here at the 200. But we will see. That is definitely the target for the bulls. They have got to get up there to confirm this upward V shaped. Okay. All right. All right, Craig, time. Yes, absolutely. 11:09 and 4 seconds Eastern. Craig, thank you. Andrew is here. Good morning, Andrew. Gavilan, I had gotten a put earlier, then Schwab shut down on me. I'm down 50 upward, and I honestly couldn't tell you where we're going to stop today. Could they make a run all the way up for the 200? They could. I don't know that that's going to happen today. Could we get a pullback and a reversal? We could, but the bias is bullish, Gavilan. So I am really sorry that you're stuck in that put. And that stinks. I'm not saying we can't pull back today. We sure can. But right now, the bias is bullish, 100%. All right. So again, here's our daily, looking very nice, hard bounce off this bottom here. And if you all remember, I was calling for a target in the 6,300 range on really for no other reason than that I have been waiting for a 10% pullback. And that exactly 7,002 is the high, 6,300-ish was the low. That is the pullback I was looking for. Is there more to come? I think there is, but it doesn't have to happen now. It doesn't have to happen within the next few days. We can certainly keep this bullish momentum going for a while. We sure can. So we don't know. My big picture analysis is we will probably enter into a bear market sometime moving toward the summer, I believe is where I think it could happen. Okay. Little bit of a pullback here at this 657 level. Could we look at puts? We could, but they are counter trend right now, counter to the trend. Do we want to do that? I don't know. This is a strong bullish run. I don't know if I'm interested yet. The MACD has given us a little bit of red here, but you can see it's not super committed, not committed at all. All right, and let's take a quick look at our leaderboard. We've got Tesla just charging ahead here. Tesla up at 2.5%. That's great. Gold is up 1.7. Meta up 1.7. The Russell is leading the charge on the index side. The Russell is up 1.5%. Nice and strong push on the Russell. The NASDAQ is right behind it at 1.5%. Great push on the NASDAQ. The Mag 7 as a whole, as a group, are up 1.4%. NVIDIA is up 1.3%. And the SPY is not quite bringing up the rear, but in third place, up 1%. Bitcoin giving us a little bit of a comeback today. The Dow is bringing up the rear at 0.92%, still pretty good showing for the Dow. And we are looking at silver, barely green. Do we have any of our Mag 7 red this morning? Don't see it. I'm not seeing it. Nope. Okay. So here we go. Still climbing. This looks at this moment. This looks like a grind and go day, and it very well could be. We will watch and see what happens here. This is our overnight high. Just overhead here on the ES, also on the SPY. We can see it sitting right here, 657. That was that strong pop we got after data this morning. And speaking of data, let's talk about data real quick. Let me get my eyes on a good chart here while we talk about data, because I always like to keep my side view mirror on the charts. Okay, let's look at data real quick. So this morning, what we had was the ADP non-farm employment change. Awful, absolutely awful. Remember, ADP is the private payroll company. You've probably all heard of it. You've probably all been paid through ADP at some point, right? Huge company. They put out a private number, meaning they keep track of employment change in their own private corporation. The government number comes out from the Labor of Bureau Statistics, or as I like to call them, the Bureau of BS. They will produce their number on Friday, which of course, again, the market will be closed. But ADP numbers today, 62,000 jobs added. Yikes, absolutely abysmal. Down from last month, which was at 66K, still very, very bad. We did get core retail sales. There was a little bit of good news on core retail, up 0.5% month over month. So that was good. It's good to see that. We do hope the consumer is doing well. It's my experience in just living everyday life and watching everyday people that the consumer is not really doing very well. But according to this report, core retail sales are up and the consumer is spending a little bit. We also had some manufacturing PMI and some ISM manufacturing PMI data. Those were both up just slightly. So manufacturing getting just a little boost. We do also have President Trump speaking tonight. My guess is that he is going to try to boost the market. For that reason and that reason alone, I may decide to take a call overnight. But if I do that, remember that that is a lottery trade. That is kind of an all or nothing scenario. You can wake up tomorrow with a huge gap down and you can lose the whole trade. So I'm not recommending that for anybody. If you choose to do something like that, at your own risk, okay? But I may do that just based on the very fact that President Trump will be speaking, and he usually always tries to say something to boost the market. He loves the market. Thursday, we're going to get tomorrow, nothing. We get our weekly unemployment numbers. That's a weekly number. Can move the market, but doesn't usually. And then, of course, Friday, all the big numbers, but the market being closed. Average hourly earnings, non-farm payrolls, the unemployment rate, and also services PMI. So big day for data and no way to trade it. So that's going to be challenging. All right. So we're floating here across this short-term top. Are we holding here at 657 on as of right now? Looking a little toppish here. Doesn't mean that we're topping. Could just be a little breath before our next leg up. On the grind and go days, that is how it works. We get a little sideways action and then whoosh, we take another leg up. Could that be what happens today? It could be. It absolutely could be. We don't know. We do know is that we've got this little temporary bottom building right here. It has not broken down through it. We're a good bit. So right now puts our counter to the trend. So these are higher risk if we choose to take one, and I'm not taking one right now. Now, do we consider calls if we get a push here on the MACD? Would we consider a call? Yes, but the caution on that side is the overnight high is sitting right here. Have we got enough room to make a profit on a call? Yeah, I think so. We've got our VIX that's been coming down all day. So you're really just giving us a slow descent all day. Got a little pop in the morning on the VIX and then whoosh. All day we've been dropping. Right now, currently, we do have a tiny little rise, but nothing major, nothing to speak of. Now, remember, the VIX is the volatility index. It gauges the fear in the market. And as the VIX goes up, the market comes down. As the VIX goes down, the market comes up. Usually, almost always. Sometimes there's a divergence in that pattern, but most of the time, that is what we see. All right. Just watching my leaderboard here. All right, we are getting signals for a call beginning. I am going to load April 1st, 656 calls. I'm not in them because we are building a little sideways top here. I'm just looking right now. We are starting to get the MACD looking like it wants to push up. We're starting to get a little push at this top here, but I'm not in it just yet. All right. VIX giving us a little pop, just a little one. Nothing major here. And the sideways move is the move we don't love. We want to avoid that. We want to avoid range. All right, looks like it's trying. See if it pushes. The MACD just doesn't want to roll yet. Still sitting baby red, baby red, right there. Okay, pushed that top and rejected again. All right, Craig, on these grind and go days, do you alter how you approach trades and the reading of your indicators? Great question, Craig. On a grind and go, yes, I do. And it's basically when it's a strong trend, I am going to alter the way I read the indicators. And I'll explain that in just a second. That is a great question. The idea is you have to take the bias of the market. You have to keep that in mind. The main idea is you want to trade with the trend. And while I do trade against the trend occasionally, my main goal is to trade with the trend. That is where you'll make your money, and that is where you'll save yourself a lot of heartache from a day like today. I'm not calling this a grind and go all day today, but at least as of now, it is. And on a day where we've got a clear trend and you're betting against it, you're going to save yourself a ton of heartache if you pay attention to the trend and be really careful with your counter trend trades. So yes, I do approach my indicators differently. For example, the MACD rolls over here. You could say, if you're just black and white looking at the indicators, should we take a put here? The MACD says, yeah, we're rolling over, take a put. But you want to keep in mind the fact that we've been on a strong uptrend, that we're basically moving sideways. We're not really breaking any new bottoms. And so I would be very cautious with a put here. That's one example of how you would approach the indicators a little bit differently. But great question, Craig. I appreciate it. All right, it looks like it could be trying again to break this top. If we break the top, I might try for a quick call. I don't know. I'm really iffy on it because of this overnight high sitting right here and the fact that we've been in a little bit of a tight range for a few minutes. Let's see what we get. I'm going to wait a minute. Just holding here, just holding sideways. We've also got a lot of volume sitting on the put side at 654. That is our highest volume right now for today's expiration. All right. What source do you use to follow breaking news that could affect the market, i.e., yesterday? Great questions, Craig. My phone already knows me. So I usually get CNBC headlines, Yahoo Finance headlines. It's already, my phone already filters most of those headlines for me. But I do every day, every morning, part of my routine is to just check, right? Check MSNBC, check, any major news outlets. The Wall Street Journal is a good one, really. But any of the major news outlets I like to look at, and those will, give you those headlines right off the bat. The other thing, of course, I do is check futures, check data, that sort of thing. But yeah, those news headlines will, they will pop up probably they probably already pop up on your phone. But the more you check them, the more your phone gets to know you, right? It's a little scary. But yeah, MSNBC, CNBC, Wall Street Journal, investing.com, those types of things. All right, great question, Val. Love that. What percentage of normal trade do you put into an overnight lottery trade? And that is such a good question. And the simple answer is don't put in more than you're ready to lose. And I am conservative for the most part. When it comes to position size, I tend to be on the conservative side. I usually do not trade more than 2 to 5% of my account on any one given trade, even less on an overnight lottery, because the idea is you can wake up tomorrow and it can all be gone. And so you have to bear that in mind. Usually I take a very small lotto trade overnight, not more than a couple of contracts, something small. And of course, it depends on what they're being priced at as well. Sometimes they price those overnight contracts more expensive than at other times. But great question. Very small trade. And you got to go into it thinking, I could wake up tomorrow and this whole thing could be gone. So that's really important. Yeah, you're welcome, Val. Great question. Really great question. Position sizing is absolutely critical, absolutely crucial for your success as a trader. You cannot go in here slinging big, huge position sizes, 20, 30, 50% of your account on one position. Don't, please don't do that. You are going to hurt yourself doing that. You need to think of it as you have a certain number of bullets to fire every day, right? If you're in a cash account, you have a certain number of bullets to fire every day. I try to keep my bullets to 20 or more. I do not want to get stuck in a trade that's going to cost me 50% of my account, and I do see that happen a lot, and it's sad because you're going to hurt your account that way. Don't do that. Yes, we want to make money. Yes, we want to see our accounts grow, and it's attractive to go in there with a big old trade. And oh, if I make 10% on this trade, yes, that's attractive, but that is gambling. This is trading for me, is my livelihood. It's a business. And I go into my position sizes thinking about how many bullets do I have? And what if I lost 5 in a row? What if? Mathematically, statistically, it is possible. Doesn't happen that often, but it could. It absolutely could. And you've got to go into trading with that mentality. Preserve your capital. You cannot go into trading thinking, I'm gonna swing this big trade and I'm gonna land a, beautiful win. No, please don't do that. Please go into it thinking, what if I lost the next 5 trades? Can my account withstand it? Can I come back from that? Super important. All right, getting a little push down here. Very nice. Very nice. You are welcome, Val. Okay, a little bit of a drop here. Let's see how far they bring it down. VIX has given us a bit of a pop up to 24. Dana, if you put a big chunk of your account on one trade, you won't be able to make another trade until those funds settle the next day, which is another great point. Dana, if you're in a cash account, those are counted as unsettled funds. You can't trade those again. So that is an excellent point. If you choose to throw a big percentage of your account at one trade and you're in a cash account, you're done. You've got just a couple more bullets left for that day. So great point there, Dana. All right. Little fake out there. Did you see that? Boom, came down and then pushed right back up. A little bit of a fake out there. Back right into the range. So we can see the MACD has been red since 11:03 Eastern. So basically about a half an hour, the MACD's been red, but we haven't gone far, except for this last 2 candles. We haven't really gone far. We've just been kind of sideways. All right, let's see if we bring it back down again. And so far at this point, until we really come down here and break, this is still range. All of this is still range. So until this comes down here and breaks, or until we break the top up here, this is still range. So we still have to be careful with these trades. You don't want to get caught in range. It's no fun. The idea is they move the market sideways for a good amount of time. And these zero DTE style trades that I like to take, zero DTE means they expire today. There are 0 days to expiration. They expire today. Those trades have a limited shelf life. They are worthless at the end of today. So the number one enemy of the zero DTE scalper, number one enemy is time. We don't want to spend time in a trade. That is the number one enemy. And so as we see range like this, we want to try to avoid that. Unless we can think we can get in and out with a quick win, we want to try to avoid that, because that sideways action is kryptonite. It'll hurt you. Even if your option moves in your favor, if it doesn't move a lot and we just keep going sideways, or even if your option doesn't move against you and we keep going sideways, you're still going to lose money because of theta. So just keep that in mind. All right. It's acting like it wants to get weak here, but I'm not sure I believe it. I want to see it come down and break through this little bottom here before I believe that it's really getting weak. What it's really doing is putting itself right back in the range. Boom. Right there. Okay, now we're pushing the top of the range. Could we consider calls here? Kind of back where we were a few minutes ago. We could. We've got a little bit of room before we hit this overnight high. But we're currently holding this top at 657. The top is holding so far. No break yet. A little bit of a drop on the VIX, down to 23.9. A little bit trappy in here, so you can see me being careful with trades. Not taking anything yet. It's just a little trappy. It has been a bit trappy all day, even with this run up, right? It's been, you can see it here, just kind of like doing this up and down and sideways. We did get this run, but then it rounded it over. So it has been a bit tricky today. So I am on the cautious side. Plus I did really, really well yesterday. So don't really want to give back any of that profit. Okay, here's a push in the top. I have 657 calls loaded up. I'm going to get into the calls. I'm in. This is educational only, so follow at your own risk. I'm not going to take a huge win. I'm not super wanting to do much here at the top. I'm going to get, well, I almost got out and I just missed my exit. Darn it. That was quick. I was up here at about 4 or 5%, and I almost jumped out, and I wasn't quite fast enough. See if we can get one more push, or we're going back into the range. Yeah, I missed the exit. Super challenging to trade this right now. Very challenging. Were there any trades in that run up? Yeah, there were call trades in the run up, Craig. Absolutely, there were. I'll show it to you in just a second. Yeah. That was me being too slow. Let's see if we can get another push up to the top of this wick, but I don't know if we're going to get it. We'll see. $656.9. Is that a new high of day? Yeah. Yeah, that's a new high of day. Okay, good. So in the run up, there were trades. This one right here was a little bit weird with this super high wick, but we did get the MACD rolling up. We are over the VWAP. So it's not a bad entry right here at all. The high wick gives you a little, makes me kind of worry a little bit, but it wasn't a bad entry right here. We're over the VWAP. We've got the MACD, and we did see the entry here. All right, this is annoying. And this is what I mean by trappy trading. That one was my fault. I knew I wanted to get out quickly, and I just wasn't quick enough on the trigger. If we're lucky, we'll get another run up. Sorry, did you say crappy trading? That's exactly what I said. Yeah, crappy trading is right. Tough trading so far today. Tough trading. It is what it is. All right. 656.7. Still just sitting on the range. That little break went fast. See if we can push one more time. I think we're trading in the right direction, even though we are rangy. VIX gave us a little bitty drop there, 23.9 on the VIX. Here's a little push. I'll say this too, the options pricing today has been horrific. I'm really struggling to make money today on these options. Has been a challenge. They're just You'll see what I mean after you trade for a while. Some days the premiums just move differently than others. All right, just kind of hovering here. We're right here at this top that they made earlier. There's a little push. And the other thing on a lot of these trades is, especially in this kind of a market, sometimes you just have to sit and wait. And that's the other thing. I've just been having to sit and wait all day today on trades. Slow moving. Little push here. There we go. One more push. Come on, guys. Here we go. Here we go. I'm going to take the out here. It's like 1%. I'm out. Basically a break even. I don't like this little top here. So I'm out of that one. Definitely noticed that today. Yeah. Right? It's tough. Very tough. I don't know if anyone's aware. I am also trading calls on MSTR today. And those should, I'm thinking they should pop today. They're up right now about 4%. All right, getting a little teeny push here right at the top. There we go. See, if I'd have waited for that, that would have been a 5, 6, 7% win right there, but I'm okay. I didn't like the little top. I was happy with a break even, honestly. Here we go. Pushing overnight high right above. Oh, my MSTR trade just jumped to 12. Okay. I'm going to take a quick look at MSTR here, guys, just for a second. Oh, yeah. Nice. Nice, nice. I think it's got more to go. It's trying to break the VWAP here. I think I'm going to hold it for a few more minutes. Watch it here today. Point 0.7% down right now. All right, back to SPY. Thank you. Overnight high, lurking right here. We just touched it. Did you see that? Isn't it funny how these levels get so respected? We came right there to the overnight high and touched it. Doesn't mean we won't break it, but it's just always interesting to me how often those levels get respected. All right. Let's see if we're getting a little rejection here. Possible. Nope, not yet. Still running. sitting right at 6,600. This is a level that the bulls want to hold, like we talked about earlier. 6,600 on the S&P 500 on the index. So I'll show that to you. Right there, you can see, I know there's so many red lines here, but this red line right here is the 6,600 level on the SPX. That is definitely an area they want to hold. And again, that 200 sitting right overhead, just about 40, 45 points away. It could happen today. It could with enough oomph. But let's see. Let's see. We also have the 21. Actually, that's a 20. I want that to be 21. Okay. 21 sitting right overhead. 6,600 sitting right overhead. These guys, they have to be reclaimed. But we've got strong upward momentum, that's for sure. Not betting against it right now. All right. So I'm not going to consider another call until this gives us another little pullback, and we don't have to get one. Like we said, sometimes these grind and goes, they just keep going, don't they? But I'm not going to trade another call here until we get some form of a pullback. We're right here at the overnight high. We're sitting right here at 6,600. These are both overhead resistance, possibly. So I'm going to give that some time. I'm not going to trade to the upside again. Even if it goes and shoots up past these levels, that's okay. I'm going to give it a minute. And there it goes. $65.99.2. You see how it's funny how these guys hold these levels, right? Chances are pretty good we've got some orders sitting at 65 or 6,600. There's probably some orders sitting there. And so a lot of times they'll wait to tag these levels. You never know. And just for the heck of it, I do want to look at the volume on the SPX. Yes. Okay. All right, let's look at the volume on the SPX today. Definitely higher volume sitting on the call side, right here where we're at 6,600. So that's the highest level of options on the SPX for today's expiration. Puts really aren't even close, not even a little bit. So looks like volume is growing to the upside for sure on the call side. 6,600, 6,605, 6,610. Then we've got 6,615 and 6,620 are basically almost the next highest. We do have some volume building here at 65.30 on the put side. Open interest is really heavily stacked to the call side, real heavily stacked. Okay, still climbing. 65.99.2. They're about to break that 6,000 level. There it is. Nope, almost. Almost. All right, definitely looking grindy and go-y. Very nice. Very nice. All right, now that we've broken the overnight high, I am going to look at calls at the 657 level. Not in it just yet. I'm looking. I'm going to go ahead and get the calls. This is, again, this is an informational trade. Follow at your own risk. I'm not recommending. I'm just showing you how I do it. Okay. Let's see if they can pull it back up here real quick. Nice little jump. Options not moving for crap today. Really bad. Really bad options movement today. All right, I'm out here. Wow. That was a break even. God, I'm telling you, the way they're pricing these options today, I'm fit to be tied. That is irritating. That should have been a 10, 15%er right there. Well, it is what it is. And it's still, wow. Damn it. Missed that one. I'm jumping in one more time on the calls. I'm in. $6.58 is our new high. I'm out at a small win. Nope, I'm not out because I have an order pending. Let me get out of that. All right, out at a small win right here. I could not be more irritated with the options pricing today. I could not be more frustrated. Wow. And you know what? They know what they're doing because they're pushing it hard right now and they're not paying out. Very frustrating. They're pushing it hard and they're just not paying. Super annoying. $6.58 is the new high. 66.05 on the SPX. 3 cents. Yeah. Congrats, Craig. I feel your pain. BD, feel ya, 2% of my account. Hey, you're up, BD. Congrats. But they're just cheating everybody today. Makes me so angry. But my MSTR trade is up 15%. That makes me a little happier. Gavilan, how far would you let MSTR go? Good question, Gavilan. If you see some profit and you like it, get out. I'm fixing to close it here in a minute. 15% is lovely. I'm going to trade a quick reversal on the put side, but I'm not in for long. I'm just trying to trade the downside real fast. Puts are paying a little better. I'm out of those puts. Just a couple of percent, not much. I was just playing this little reversal right here. When you see the price scream like that, you'll always get a tiny pullback. Doesn't mean it's going to change direction, but you'll always see some move back to the moving averages. So that's just what I traded right there. All right, let me go take care of MSTR. I'm going to look at the chart first before I get out. %13 is what I've got on it right now. Nice break of the VWAP there. Looks like it could run some more. I'm going to take the 12, I think. I'm at 12 right here. Well, I guess that's 10 now. I'm okay with that. I think it's going to go a lot more, to be honest. All right. That is done. SPY taking a breath here after a huge run. That we didn't get to cash in on, which makes me so mad. It is what it is. Drum bum, you never go broke taking a profit. Hey, bro. That right there's my bro. Hey, mister, I texted you. You never go broke taking a profit. You are exactly right. Unfortunately, we traded this run up and we only made a few pennies. And that is so frustrating because typically on a run like this should be, 15, 20, 30% wins, but they just didn't pay it today. And it's been like that all day. We got a little bit of money off that little put drop right there. All right. And BD, some days I feel like going stocks. Oh, wow. Oh, BD, you are betting the farm sometimes when you're in penny stocks. It's a tough gig. Craig, given that the S&P is up greater than 1%, if it stays at this level, would that equal a sizable run up over 2 days? Would that influence your overnight thinking going into tomorrow? Absolutely, it would, Craig. And yes, it is a sizable, it's already a sizable run up. We had almost 3% yesterday. We're up over 1% today. We're looking at almost 5%. Let's see, 3, 4, almost 5%. Absolutely, that is something to think about, right? Did I mention it on this stream? I do 2 streams, so sometimes I forget which stream I say things on. But President Trump is speaking tonight, and he almost always tries to say something to get the market to move in the upward direction. So I may, just for that reason alone, I may consider an overnight call. I did mention it on the stream. I may consider an overnight call just for that reason alone. But again, we talked about this earlier. Make sure that you're not betting the farm. Make sure you're keeping those positions small. Don't go all in on that kind of a trade because it's what we call a lotto trade. It's a gamble. It's going to, it's very possible to wake up tomorrow morning to a 90% loss because we get some massive gap down because who knows what happened, right? Who knows what news story hit the wire. But when we take these overnight trades, we want to be fairly sure of the direction that we're going. And we only want to put in what we are willing to lose. So usually I don't go in very big on these trades. All right. So we are pushing this top again, 658.1. Looks like they're gunning for a new high. Again, it looks like they're gunning for the 200, doesn't it? All right. I'll show you one more time because we always want to keep the daily in view in our side view mirror, right? What's going on the daily. So let's look at that one more time. Let's look at the candle. There we go. We looked at this candle earlier. We've got the 21 just overhead at 66.13. We haven't conquered that yet. And then we need to conquer the 200. That's this line, this 200-day moving average. That is the make or break. That's the line in the sand. The bulls have got to get up and reconquer that. They don't have to do it today, but they do have to do it. So 66.42, we've only got about 39 points overhead to get there. Could we make that run today? We could. We sure could. Or it could happen. It could happen later. We will test it. We will test it. That I almost guarantee we test it. What happens at the test is what's crucial. So we don't have to test it today, but we will test it. My guess is tomorrow or this week. And what happens there is going to be really important. We either recapture that and continue on with this beginning, looks like a beginning of a V-shaped recovery, doesn't it? See? Boom, boom, V-shape. Could be, right? So we've got to continue that on. If we do not, if we reject at the 200, or we recapture it for a day and then sink, or 2 days and sink, that's a big failure, and we could go much farther down. So we've looked at this before, but I always like to look left. When you want to know what's going to happen, look left. Really important. I'm going to put some more days on this chart. Let's give it 5 years. And let's just look left at what has happened in the past when we've lost the 200. So here we lost it. Back here in March, April of 25, you guys remember that really rough correction we had? Well, it was more than a correction. We came down, and I'll zoom in here so you can see it. So we came down and broke it for about, we closed below it 1, 2, 3, 4 days before we started to rise back up. We closed below it for 4 days. We came all the way back up, looked at this point. Look, let's cover up what happens to the right. What does it look like here? Right? If you don't know what's going on next, what do you see? You see, we've recovered the 200. We're making a V shape, right? Looks like that, doesn't it? We've recovered the 200, all is well. And then what happens? Boom, 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 boom. Oh, capitulation way down here. Capitulation right here. Capitulation is when everybody says, can it go any farther? It can't go any farther. It can't go any farther. And then they go, oh, I'm dead. My portfolio is dead. Everything is dead. I'm out. I'm selling everything. That's capitulation. That's what Warren Buffett called blood in the streets. He said, be greedy. Be greedy when there's blood in the streets. And he said, be greedy when others are fearful, and be fearful when others are greedy. And so this is an example of capitulation. It's like, oh, this first day, oh, my portfolio. Oh, this day, no, no, no. And then boom, all the way down here. So going back to what this means for a recapture of the 200 is, could we recapture the 200 and reject? Absolutely. And if we do that, that could really give us a bad drop. Now, another example is what happens here. We do come up. This is a V shape, right? Look at that. That's a perfect V shape recovery. So we do come down here. We do get to capitulation, and then we rebound. And these candles look a bit like our current candles, don't they? Really big, massive cat. That's a massive candle. And we come back up and we recapture the 200. We gap up over it. See that? Big gap up over it. So we're over here for a few days, like, oh, can we do it? Can we do it? And then boom, gap up. And then we don't look back. It just runs and runs and runs. So what can we get from that? What we get is this V shape that's starting, looks like we got it. And as Craig said, we're pushing 5% here in 2 days. That's enormous. That's pretty big. Can we go ahead and recapture this 200? Can we gap up over it? We sure can. What happens here in these few days, it doesn't always happen in one day. Sometimes it takes a week. Sometimes it takes 2 weeks to really play out how they're going to handle the 200 here. And if we do get a recovery of the 200, we can certainly see a nice push upward. If they play around here, even if they recover it and then drop it, we're going to see a drop. That's the way that cookie crumbles there. Okay. getting a little bit of a slowdown here at this top, 658 top, 6,600. Remember, I keep saying that's the level. This is the overhead level we're fighting right now. 6,600 is where we're sitting on the SPX. That's a big resistance. We've also hit it. Let's zoom in here. Let's see how many times have we hit 6,600 in the last few days as resistance. A couple, right? We hit it here, almost hit it here, hit it here. We're hitting it here. We rejected this time, and this time. We rejected 3 times. We rejected 6,600. So far right now, we're right on it. So bulls need to recover 6,600, and then the next step is this 21 before we get to the 200. So let's see. Let's see. We rejected it a couple of times before. Again, my money says we will probably gap up over the 200 tomorrow if President Trump tries to give us a pep talk or gives us the taco trade, right? You guys are familiar with the taco trade. Trump always chickens out. Wow, guys, I'm 15 minutes over. I'm just enjoying your company so much. I'm 15 minutes over. We're at the end of the stream, but let me finish this thought. The taco trade stands for Trump always chickens out. And they started saying that when he was putting the tariffs on and the market started to freak out. And then he would come back and say, oh, all right. We're going to ease up, and then the market would get happy. So that's the taco trade. I don't think he chickens out. I think he's a master deal maker. He just knows how to do that. A bit of a manipulator, I would say, which is, I don't say that in a bad way. I think that he knows how to negotiate, and I think he uses those skills very well. So right now, are we going to get a taco trade with Iran? I'm going to guess. My gut feeling says he'll probably come out and say something tonight that pushes the markets higher. We have 2 nice green days. I might, like I said, take that overnight call and just see if we get a gap up through the 200. I think it's very possible. So that's where I'm at for the rest of the day. Again, we could just grind and go. We could just hit this top here at 6,600 and hold it. We'll be watching. Don't try to trade against this until you really see some good evidence that we're coming down. I would not be taking counter trend trades today. Too much strength here. Don't do it. If we come all the way down and break this VWAP, if we really start to crash, that's different. But on these little pullbacks here, can you make a couple of bucks? Yes. But the way the options are moving today, it's challenging. So unless you see really good reason to take an opposing trade, stick with the trend. If it turns back up again, the MACD turns green again, you might consider another call. That's what I have for you today. It was a lot of fun trading with you all. Thanks for joining. And I will be back again tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern. And we'll see. Oh, yeah, back tomorrow and not on Friday. Good Friday. Market is closed. All right. We'll see you tomorrow, guys. Thank you so much for joining. Bye for now.